and I turned it off on this phone and then it came off onto the camera. So that's very annoying. I'm really sorry about that, but I'm going to continue anyway with the live. So where were we? So Herman Jallow, and I think we're in a situation now where we need to ask ourselves whether this lady has any sinister motives for asking for that amount of money. That's a lot of money to be asking for, you know, asking your subscribers for $100,000. There are many people that don't even earn that in, you know, that's over 5 million dalasi, really. That's wild. That is really a high amount of money to be asking. I mean, even 50 grand, that's enough to build yourself a substantial house. But it seems as though someone is a little bit greedy and they are really, really going for it. And I didn't, the last time I looked at his GoFundMe, didn't even reach 1,000 yet. But I think that they're playing the long game here. There's no doubt that Herman is a hard-working young man. He is. We've seen him. We've seen him grafting away for next to nothing for people who are very unappreciative. God, what's going on in my English? For people who are very unappreciative of his work and of his work ethic. And he's gone out there and he's grafting for people in the sun and he gets paid pennies for it. 49 American cents a day the Baggs family were paying him. Now you might hear differently from other people. Oh no, that's rubbish. Nah, that didn't happen. But so that sounds awfully, it rings true to me. Maybe it's 49 cents an hour. You know, because 49 cents a day, I heard. It's a bit extreme, don't you think? Who would work for that? I mean, you can't buy anything, even in the Gambia, with 49 cents. Yeah, must have a big bag when dealing with entitled ADOS queens. And maybe that's true. Maybe, yes, Vanessa, come back. Vanessa, I'm sorry about that. Come back in. So maybe that's true, because that sounds like an American amount of money. It sounds like a Western amount of money. It sounds like the wife has just come in and said, yo, that's enough of that. No more. We're not doing all these live streams. We're not going to be groveling for money, desperados, no more. We are, you know, we're going to mobilize this family, okay? We're going to mobilize this family. We're going to put ourselves in a stronger position. We're going to use your subscribers to do so. And unashamedly, why not? They are there. Let's help them. Hey, I checked out Jallow. Something's not right about this video. It looks like the American lady is behind this. It looks like send money to starving kids in. It does, doesn't it? Because the way they've got the kids out there. I'm going to try and put your message out. No, I can't do it. The way they've got the kids there in the foreground. Yeah, look at these children. We're desperate. I'm going to give you guys a story. It's a Gambian story. I remember when I was staying at one time. I was staying at the Senegambia Hotel. I was at the Senegambia Hotel. And there was an African nations football match on, the Gambia versus Liberia, right? And there was a gentleman who worked at the hotel, and I don't remember what happened, but I offered him a ticket because I wanted someone to go with me to the football match because it's kind of rowdy. If you've ever been to an international football match from the Gambia, you'll know what I'm talking about. It gets rowdy, doesn't it? It gets a bit dangerous as well. I remember when Gambia scored, actually. They scored against Liberia from a free kick. and they started throwing tins, full tins, down from the tops, from behind us. Oh my goodness, man, that was dangerous. Just needed one of those to hit us. Very dangerous. So anyway, I asked this guy to come with us just in case. So we had a bit of backup there. He's a big guy as well. He worked at the hotel. He was actually one of the managers or something like that. And then afterwards, he offered me to go to his house, like, you know, another day. So I was like, yeah, that'll be nice. And then I tried to cancel this meeting because it was in one of those little villages in the bush. There was no light, no nothing. They lived in the dark, in the bush. Yeah, it was crazy to see this. Not sure where they were. But anyway, I went there and this guy was, yeah, do you have any little money? I need to take my kids to the hospital. Like that. And then he waited and then he looked at his kids and knocked them and said something to them and they started they started coughing. It was so, oh man, I just thought to myself. So I have seen it before. I've seen it there in the Gambia before. It's sometimes people will go out their way to try and coerce people into giving them your money. Now, is it a bad thing? That's a good question. Is it a bad thing that they're asking their subscribers for money? That they are... I'm going to have to answer this carefully. I don't think it's a bad thing. Genuinely, I don't think it's a bad thing. If you've got that woman there and she thinks that she can put them in a position where, you know, they're not going to be living it large with 100 grand. Okay, they can live okay for the foreseeable future. Herman can start himself a job where he'll be able to take care of all of them. Let's have it. It is not bad, but it is the way that it's being done. That's very true, Katie. It is. It's not being done in a way which is indicative of a Gambian pulling all the strings. It isn't. It just sounds like someone from the West is telling them to do it. So this is why people are pointing the finger at Icea, Jallow, because it just seems a huge amount of people for one. It's a huge amount of money to be asking people, and you know, if it was, I think if it was from Herman, he would never ask for 100,000. He would never ask for $100,000 because he would never think that his subscribers could come up with that sort of money. That's big money, right? That is big money. So, you know, I'm going to have to come to the conclusion that there is outside help. I'm not going to point his finger at his wife. I don't think that's fair because I have absolutely no evidence to suggest it's her. But you don't need, do you, in order to that, all you need is a few circumstances, mitigating evidence as well. That's all you need, and you can put two and two together, and you can see for yourself, Herman's never acted this way. They don't act this way. Gambians don't act this way. No. So, and like I said, it is not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing that they're asking for 100,000 so they can get themselves properly set up, you know, so they can build themselves a house which is not going to break down during the next storm. You don't want to be there in that situation. So now, like one of the other subscribers just said, it is not the fact that they're asking, it's the way that they're asking. I think that's us being lost in translation. But I have a funny feeling that, you know, these guys are being pushed into it. No, you must do it this way, do it that way, ask them for the money. That's, that's what they do. ABC, always be closing, always be closing. And that's what it sounded like. It sounded like somebody gave Herman Jallow's brother a pep talk before he went over the house and started playing with things. And, oh, look, this house, it's falling apart. Look at it, it's terrible. It really did look that way. So we really need to ask ourselves the question, is Herman's, are the Hermans at this, are the Jallows at this moment, is their fundraising schemes being ran by this African American woman? If she is indeed African American. She has an American accent, but doesn't mean to say that she's African American. And it doesn't mean that she's also a descendant of a slave, does it? It doesn't mean she's a foundational American of African descent. She could just have an American accent and be a Gambian. Look at the way Renee Marcus talks. Look at the way she speaks. She doesn't speak like she's African, does she? She speaks like she comes from the same place I do. So they could be putting that on. They were using it. Let's have a look. Sorry. She is African American. I can tell by her demeanor. Wow. Are you sure about that, Darius Smith? Are you sure about that? African American. I mean, there are, especially the ones that watch this, that watch me and follow this. They aren't that type, But you do get the aggressive sales types, both men and women, who come from the States. They want this. They're going to go for it. Like I said before, I don't think it's anything bad, but they need to calm down on that tone, don't they? Because the opposite is going to happen. It's okay if you're being aggressive and you're in a sales deal, but you don't do that to your subscribers. Like you're privileged or something. Well, clearly they're not privileged, but where's our money? Nah. No, son. The damage has already been done. Possibly. But this Icea, she seemed pretty angry as well. But I think she was more angry of the fact that there were so many people that were unhappy with Herman at that time. And she was reading the messages, clearly. She was reading the messages and she was telling, and people had been criticizing her. That's what's been happening. People have been criticizing her. And they haven't been saying nice things about her. This is the way YouTube works. This is what happens when you put yourself in the public eye like she has. You put yourself in the public eye, you are putting yourself in a situation where you can be scrutinized by everybody watching. It's public. Gambia Global TV, nice to see you back, Gambia Global TV. But $100,000 can build at least 3 simple houses in the Gambia, based on my practical experience in the house building trade. And this is a strange thing, because if you build a $100,000 house, you need to take care of that house, don't you? Are you going to be able to take care of that house? Build it from the inside, furnish it properly, for 100,000, a big house. It's possible. It's possible. And I think that's probably what they're trying to do. But then again, if he was business minded, he would build 3 simple houses with 100 grand. And then, once he reaches 33,000, he can start on the first house. Then when he reaches 66,000, he can start on the second house. He could do it that way. And always have, Airbnb them out. So he can always have money coming in. Stick them all in the same compound. You can do that. For some reason, I just think this woman, the way she was talking, the way she was sort of putting herself on camera, it's not very Islamic, is it? Like, is it? It's the way she was. I mean, of course, she had all the get-up. She had the burqa on, but even then, she didn't sort of hold herself like she was a humble woman. She seemed like she was a demanding woman, a woman that wants to live life a certain way. Is there anything wrong with that? Only when you're asking your subscribers for money in that sort of a sense, in that way, then it becomes a problem. And if she is as intelligent as she says she is, if she's that intelligent, then she would have known that. It's crazy that she came out the way that she came out, with, you know, the way she was talking. And it was like Herman's brother came on first. You know, she didn't like the way he was doing his job, and, you know, give it to me. Okay, I'm going to do it again. She's done it again with the entirety of the family around her. Give it to me now. Let me do this. She was eye-rolling Herman's mother. Oh, was she? I didn't even know that. I didn't even see that. That's rude. Yeah, define very aggressive. Very aggressive is physical, right? If the African American woman wants to live in a nice house, then you don't marry some dirt poor Gambian dude. Well, you do marry him if you're in love with him, right? We're not Kevin Samuels, you know. You don't have to be a what's it called? What's it called again? A high value man. That's it. You don't have to be one of those. Oh, you can be a high value man in your heart. God damn, that's lovely. So, should you give money to Herman's? I'm going to ask you a question. Let me ask you guys this question. Let me see who answers this. How many of you guys are going to be giving money to Herman's fund? How many of you guys are going to be giving money to... I knew you was going to say no, Katie. I wasn't even going to ask you. I'm asking the rest of you guys. Okay, could you tell me why? Tell me why you wouldn't. Yeah, she was. And the thing is, though, she could come across as being aggressive. Nope. She wants money for her expensive eyelashes. Oh, Dove body wash, Head and Shoulder shampoo. She's buying some weird things from the supermarket. Did you see that? She's buying some weird things, Snickers. It's like, why would you buy that for? You know, okay, you got kids, you know, you buy little snacks and all that, but there are nice sweets and candies and snacks in the Gambia, African made, homemade stuff. Why would you go and buy that kind of rubbish from the supermarket? Spending $50. $50 is a lot of money to spend in the supermarket. I don't spend $50 even here where I live, but I go to a place called Aldi. You guys have Aldi in America. It's a German company. They're everywhere. And their food is dirt cheap. Dirt cheap, but reasonable quality. So Dove body wash. Yeah, Lidl's okay as well. Lidl's good. I go to Lidl. I've just come from there as well. But the point is, though, you shop smarter, don't you? You cook more. You know, you do these types of things, and it doesn't seem as though it sounds by her shopping list that she hasn't fully immersed herself into Gambian culture. So it sounds as if she hasn't actually been married to Herman for that long. It'd be interesting to see who it is. I wonder who it is. Is it ES? That's all right. No, I'm not going to start there. Let's not go there. Okay, let's move on. Moving on. So, I wonder, I know, I'm sorry. So, yeah, we need to try and find out who this woman is, and that's what I'm going to do. Actually, I'm going to do some digging, do some research into her. This is probably not her real name. If you do have any information on her, please send me an email. You lost respect for Herman. Well, the thing is, Herman is not, I don't even think he's to blame. I don't think he's to blame. I think he was put in a situation where he had never had that sort of exposure or that kind of money before, right? He's never had it before. He's never seen it before. So all of a sudden, he's given himself, he's in a situation where he's getting money from all these people, and then it stops. But he wants it to continue. He wants it to continue. He's using that money to support his family. Everybody else thought that he was working to support his family. He works very hard. He's not afraid of hard work, but it doesn't seem as though it's enough for his family. Or maybe it is, but it's not enough for the woman of the household. There are certain things that a woman needs, and she's not working. She's a Muslim woman at home. She's got the full veil on. She ain't out there grafting. She ain't working. Like the other Gambian women, she's not taking her fruits or potatoes or whatever down to the market trying to earn herself an extra $20, $30. She's not doing anything like that. She knows where the money's at. She knows she can get herself, in a situation where she's getting that amount of money. She can earn that certain amount of money. So like what a person would earn down at the market, she could earn that doing a decent YouTube video inside the house, making a bit of noise. She could do that. So she knows this. She ain't gonna go grafting in the Gambia. So that's it. I'm gonna give you I think personally, right? I think that people. Now you make your own decision. Make your own decision. Make your own choice. I personally won't be adding to that fund. I think it's too much. I think she's asking for too much. I think it's overdone. If you need a house, get yourself a house built. Ask us for the money. Ask for the money in increments. So say you need $10,000. And then build up your profile, build up your YouTube channel, keep people informed, get yourself a webcam that's live streaming the build, or do a time lapse of all of the build work during the day, and then post it in your Patreons, for your patrons. Do something innovative, do something different, niveau, do something like that. Don't just, I need money, send it to me. It's insulting to some people, especially to some people in the West. A lot of people in the West don't appreciate that, and I can see that already. YouTubers always asking for big amounts. In Africa, yeah. But this is their golden ticket, right? This is their golden ticket. You got to remember, when you're in like one of the third world countries, cash is king. The money is everything. But, in the West, it's more to do with the amount of subscribers, the amount of passive income you get. That sort of thing is important because most YouTubers, the vast majority of YouTubers, are not full-time YouTubers. They don't do this full-time, right? They have a normal job. So you gotta respect that, and you've also got to. Nobody wants to work a job. Nobody wants to work a job in the Gambia. That's difficult. That's hardcore work. A normal job. If I was him, I'd speak to one of the artists. I mean, you can do that. You can speak to one of the artists in the Gambia and start to get creative. Some beautiful work down there. Start making some solid wooden furniture. I don't know. You can sell that type of thing to the tourists, and the tourists are coming back. The tourists are coming back, and it's summertime, right? Gambia has that temperate temperate climate where it's always hovering around between 20-25 all year round. Can get very hot over there, but the coldest it gets is, you know, lower 20s. So even in the winter time, you're going to get people coming over there, going to Serekunda market and buying the stuff there. He needs to think, and he's struggling to do that. It's a problem. It's a big problem that he's struggling to do that, struggling to make his own decisions. What were you people doing before GoFundMe? I beg, stop the begging. Yeah, I know. But you're begging. Lisa Susu. No, only joking. Yeah, I understand. A lot of people, they see this as their lifeline. What would they have done if they didn't have it? They don't think that way. They just think, I have it, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to ask for this money for free. You know, I'm not even going to give anything of value back. I'm not going to make my videos any better. I'm not going to give you anything better. Just, where's my money? No, it's definitely not the way to do it. And if anything, Herman's wife, if it is Herman's wife, she needs to perhaps align herself with her own African American brothers and sisters, if they are indeed her brothers and sisters, if she is indeed a African descendant of a slave. We don't know. We don't know. I donated to him. I'm going to read this. May Sams, I donated to him last night, but I also understand that he's young and needs guidance. He doesn't know exactly how to prosper with YouTube. His way of asking for donations is off, but I sympathize. You know, last night what I was watching a video with a mixed race couple. So it's a white guy and he's got a grey beard. I'm not sure if you've seen him before. It's a white guy. He was live and he had maybe 15, 20 people watching his live. Okay, no high numbers, not a big guy, you know. And his wife is an African American woman, you know. They're doing the mixed couple thing, you know, trying to blow up on YouTube sort of thing. I was watching this last night, and then I was going back in their videos because I'd seen them around before. I was going back in their videos, seeing which was their number one video, which one was really kicked butt, you know. And they have one video where they speak about their mixed race daughter, and on the thumbnail you have the father on one side, the mother on one side, and the daughter's in the middle. And the daughter's stunning, right? She's really beautiful young lady. And all of their videos are getting, you know, triple digits, 300, 700, 800. Some of them are getting, you know, they've been on YouTube for years now. They've been on YouTube for years. And, you know, they've been getting small numbers here, there and everywhere. And then they've been getting small numbers pretty much all the way through. But every now and again, they get a big 17K, 20K, you know, they get a big video. And the one time the YouTube algorithm said to them, hey, this is what your viewers want to see. Because this one video, which wasn't a long video, with this African American lady and her white husband and their mixed race child, their mixed race daughter, got well over 600,000 views. Well over 600,000 views for that one video. That's the YouTube algorithm saying, we want more of this. Make another one, you know. And you make those algorithms please, and then you blow up. But last night, Or this is just how Herman, this is, I'm trying to relate this to Herman here. Herman doesn't know how to manage himself. He does not know how to manage his money, clearly. I shop at Aldi's all the time. It's cool, isn't it? It is so cool. Yeah. I'm not even going to go into the story of the Aldi brothers. Yeah, I don't want to know. But you'll probably know what they were doing back in the 1940s. Go figure. So, where was I? So, Herman is struggling to do this type of thing. So, I'm going to ask you guys this question. Is this a good thing then? Is it a good thing that he has his wife that has said, right, forget this. Come on, you've got these subscribers. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. Come on, let's get this out. Let's get this working. Let's mobilize ourselves. Let's bring ourselves up. Yes, I think as well, DJ. I think it's actually a good thing. I think it's actually a good thing. You have an African American woman. You know what they are like. They tend to be savvy. They tend to be intelligent, right? They are the most, I mean, you guys know this, and I'm not just saying this just for brownie points, but you guys already know this, and you can look this up for yourself. African American women are the most intelligent women in America, right? By far, right? More intelligent, more of them go to university and get degrees. Sorry, it might be Black Americans actually. It might be Black Americans. It might be different, but the vast majority of them go to tertiary education. Okay, the Asian women don't do that. Some of them do, and they put them out on TV as if all Asians wear glasses and are book smart. Yeah, I'm Asian. No. You want to know somebody who is, that has that, that X factor when it comes to business. It generally tends to be African women and women of African descent. So should we sort of, maybe we should leave them to it. Maybe this is the way, my God, oh man. I need a rich black woman so we can combine our wealth. Where was I reading about this the other day? About why it's good to have a rich woman. Do you know why it's good to have a woman that's come from, when I say a privileged background? Because they are not looking for men with money. They don't need men with money. They don't care. They want a man who's going to be good to them, that's going to make them happy, make them laugh, that's going to be respectful, a man that's going to have integrity, trustworthy. They want all that. They don't need the money. They don't need that money. So if you go to if you go to a lot of these countries, especially here in Western Europe, women don't go looking for, they don't care about guys. And you could drive up to a woman in a Ferrari. You can drive up to her. She's just going to look at you like, I can afford that, because a lot of them can. So it's like, how are you going to impress them? And a lot of men here in Europe struggle to get themselves a decent woman. They struggle because what else do you have to offer that woman? As opposed, you can't offer them money because they have that as well. They've been mobilized as well, so they can pay taxes to the Rothschilds, right? They've been mobilized too. So what else do you have to offer them? Anyway, so I truly believe that this woman's a good thing. It's more of a positive thing than a negative thing. A lot of people out there were asking for Herman to be managed, to have someone put someone where Rene Marcus doesn't have to go to Herman anymore. Rene Marcus can speak perfect English, and so can this African American woman. And guess what this African American woman is going to tell her? It didn't sound like She doesn't sound like the type of person that Rene Marx can go over and school, does it? So I know it's always traditional to have the man wear the pants in the family, but in this case, Herman may be a bit in over his head. Once you start one of these YouTube channels, it's like a business unto itself, right? I know I'm not messy. I'm just speaking the truth. Don't call me messy. It's actually Nigerian American women. Sorry, yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's probably the truth. Nigerian women, I don't know. Let's have a look. Do I know any? I don't know any Nigerian women in the UK who aren't doctors. The only women I know are doctors and working for the NHS. So that it is true for some reason, you know. Us Jamaicans as well, we look on in envy. We're like, what are we doing? You know, we do have our doctors as well. My cousin married in America. My cousin married a guy who I always thought was an African American doctor because he'd lived in America for a very long time, but he's Nigerian. He's actually of Nigerian descent. So yeah, just I don't know what it is. They just seem to have the knack for education, and I think that has a lot to do with the financial security that a lot of these these Nigerians, a lot, I say a lot, not all, the vast majority of of Nigerians living in Nigeria are struggling. We know that. But the middle class is growing at a really fast rate in Nigeria. And it's a very comfortable middle class, not like a middle class in America or in England. It's like I have myself a large detached 150 square meter house. So does everyone, sort of one of those middle class. That's the type of middle class that's growing in Nigeria. So I know I keep talking like I'm a Nigerian fanboy, but it's, you know, it's poised to take over. Let's admit it. And, you know, I really hope that they will go ahead and lead those group of African nations and bring them into. I'm not okay. Maybe. No, do you know what? No, I don't want to be Nigerian. I just respect what they have done. I respect them for that. It doesn't seem as if what happened in South Africa, which we're going to be talking about tomorrow, we're going to be talking about what's happening in South Africa, because it's getting kind of wild down there. I don't want to come off the subject too far, but we're going to be talking about what's happening. Yeah. We're going to be talking about what's happening in Nigeria, in South Africa, sorry, because there is a lot of people. I'm going around Instagram. I'm seeing a lot of people coming out. Oh, look what's happening to my country. You know, look what these people are doing to my country. These people are destroying my country. I've seen those messages everywhere. Not a black person in sight. They're either Asian or Middle Eastern or what? It's like, since when has it been your, since when has it been your country? Yeah, it's my country, you know. And don't get me wrong, you know. I think that if it was a country like, you know, one of the countries that didn't suffer from apartheid up until the early 90s, you know, not exactly a million years ago. If it wasn't one of those countries, it'd be okay for people to go around. That's my country, Rainbow Nation. I think it's okay for white people and Middle Eastern people and Asians as well to say this kind of thing. I think it would be fine. But it's not. And a lot of those people perpetuated what was happening in South Africa. It's not like they were just hiding in the background. Oh, look, you know. They felt like they were more privileged. So they saw the way the black South Africans were being treated and they'd be like, well, we're not one of them. We're not one of them. That's their bad luck, isn't it? No one was on our side. No one was on the South African side except for Nigeria, ironically. Yeah, and I told you about that story before, right? Shall I tell it again? Okay, I'll tell it again. So, Nigeria was at the forefront of breaking the apartheid regime. So they gave a lot of funds to the parties that were trying to destroy the apartheid regime, and of course they knew that they were doing oil business with the British and the Dutch at the same time. They had sold the licenses for the oil wells in Nigeria to the British and the Dutch. They sold those licenses under one condition, that they didn't sell the crude oil to South Africa, right? One condition, they said, don't sell it to South Africa. Sell it to anyone else. Don't ever send our oil to South Africa, period, right? So, what did the Dutch and British do? They started sending the oil to South Africa, and eventually the Nigerians found out and nationalized everything. Every ship, every port, every well, every refinery. They just took it all. They said, yo, that's ours. What did we tell you? The Nigerians did that, okay? And it did. It made a handful of Nigerian men extremely rich, multi-billionaires. So the people you see running around in Nigeria today in Rolls Royces, this is where it all stemmed from. It all came from there, right? From that day, from when those Nigerians had the balls to just say, "Yo, if we're gonna have it out, let's have it out. Let's do it," and kick the British and the Dutch out of the country, and took it. So, I forgot where I was coming from then. So anyway, so the Nigerians have done a lot for the South Africans, and it seems as though there's a lot of trouble being perpetuated in South Africa, and they can always do better. They can always do better. Redistribution of that wealth and the land. It needs to happen. You think if those people were comfortable, they'd be out in the streets tearing down stores? They wouldn't be. They wouldn't even care about Jacob Zuma. They wouldn't. What about Jacob Zuma? Sorry, I don't want to get into this now. I want to talk about this tomorrow. I want to get back to the subject. But we're going to talk about this tomorrow, because I think that what's going on down there for this man, who is clearly corrupt, I think that's what's going on down there is ridiculous. And they need to wake up. Yeah. Sorry, haha, I ain't Nigerian, but facts are facts. Go on Financial Times to read the research paper from the Policy Institute stating statistical data. Oh, guys, you guys, listen, there were plenty of big, I don't want to keep ranting and raving about Nigeria, okay? But, they are, maybe Prince Dynasty was right, Is he still a Nigerian? Who knows? But anyway, so that's my final conclusion. I think it's actually a good thing that Herman's wife, who is an African American woman, right, someone who has pedigree when it comes to leading people, pedigree when it comes to education, to being smart, to being business savvy. They have somebody there. Let her take the helm. Let her take the charge. Let her take charge of what is going on there with the money. I truly believe that. I used to do that as well. I used to come back home. It used to be my job as the man. It doesn't happen anymore in my household, but in other households, I used to bring the money back home. And I used to be like, just give it to my girlfriend. Let her take care of it. Take care of the bills. Take care of the shopping. Take care of that. There's the dough. Do whatever you need to do. You got what you need. That's what I used to do, right? But it's not always tradition doesn't always work for everybody. Let's just say that. It doesn't always work for anyone. And now you're in a situation where you have this African American woman, and you can tell she's quite aggressive. Yeah, she needs to calm down on her approach when it comes to requesting funds. Does Nigeria have the best Jollof? I'm not even going to get off this. We're not going to ask this question. This Jollof wars. We're not doing this. Jollof. Yeah, that's it. I called it Jollof. You have a problem with that? Yeah. Anyway, so I'm not going to do this Ghana Nigerian thing. Sorry, I'm staying out of it. So in movement, the only thing we know about Herman's wife is that she is a beggar. You're getting carried away. No. Well, do you know what? We know more than that. We know that she's a Muslim, or she's trying to perceive herself as being a Muslim, and we know she is American. It doesn't sound like a fake American accent. That's an American accent, right? We also heard her at some point laugh about some part of the roof. Do you remember when Herman's brother was playing with the roof and part of the roof came off, and it was like, you know, that was weird. It's a serious situation they were in. They should be distraught and, oh my gosh, we're in. And then you could hear her behind the camera. It's like, you know, okay, yeah, it's not a big thing, but it's like, sometimes you have to read the information what you've got, and if you're in a real situation where your mother's living, your stepmother, you know, is living in abject poverty, if you're in that situation, you're not going to be laughing about anything, are you? You're not going to be laughing about anything. Pan-African, MBMGTOW. A1 Black Man, it's a long name. Western American YouTube contributes, donate directly to an African family. Stop trusting these diasporans, I think he's meant to say. YouTubers, stop trusting these diaspora YouTubers who take the lion's share of your donations. Where's the lie? Where is the lie? Remember when I was speaking about a month ago, I spoke about the Gambian children. Remember I made that video? I did full U-turn afterwards. I just said, do you know what? I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to take care of this myself. So I asked people for help initially, didn't I? Then I had people calling and saying, hey, we can help, we can do this, we can do that. And I was like, I'm not in a situation now. Oversight hadn't been launched yet, right? So I had to do U-turn, and I had to be like, yo, I don't need your help. Let me take care of this myself. I can work better when I do things by myself, when I focus on myself, when I do things. I think to be covert is to be safer, especially in a tiny country like the Gambia. The less people that know, the better. And a lot of people were writing into me and I didn't really know them, and I just changed my mind. I just said, do you know what, forget it, I'll do it myself. You know, if I know a plan and I take care of that plan myself, how can other people know about the plan if I don't tell anybody? There you go. But if I go on now and start, Amy Yobi, what about her? Oprah was dethroned a few months ago. I don't understand that. What are you guys talking about? The richest black man in the world is Nigerian. The richest black woman is the richest? No, that's not true, right? Isn't it that? Isn't the richest woman of African descent in the world that lady from Angola, the former Angolan president's daughter? She's worth a bit of money, right? She's a multi-billionaire. Ton wants to be Nigerian when he grows. Yeah, I'm going to stop reading these messages, you know. I'm going to start reading them. That's why the Jollof rice war was so immature, that there are other healthier foods to be celebrated instead of just eating with no moderation. Are you guys still talking about Jollof? Appearing in a YouTube video, bullying Herman's mother, calling people fools is unacceptable. Nothing intelligent about that. But look, we're here, we're talking about her. We're talking about her. So there is going to be more people who are going to be talking, more people that are going to know about her. Maybe she did it on purpose. Maybe she did it on purpose. Trust me, believe me, they have the intelligence to do reverse psychology through the YouTube channel, through their YouTube channel. She can do that. With 2 V's, oversight. And oversight can't do much about this situation though. Thanks anyway, Swag Nation. Turn, have you ever ate Niger Joe? I have. Okay, I'm gonna have to be nice about it. Listen, when it comes to food, I don't think anything beats Jamaican food, okay? We're not gonna go here, right? We're not gonna go here. We don't have jollof, but we have curry goat and rice with white rice, and nothing beats that. And that's, I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Nothing beats that. Nothing. Jamaican food is the best food in the world. That's just... jerk chicken is... Do you know what? I remember after Starlight in Brooklyn, eating jerk chicken after the club. Jerk chicken made right there in the streets. Man, that's when... Jamaica didn't rule Brooklyn, but there was a healthy Jamaican community there. Oh man, those were the days. But yeah, those days are long gone. Oh man, chicken is goodness. I know we're coming off the subject here, guys, but I miss my mother's food so much. I'm gonna have to just cook it myself. I'm gonna have to cook it myself. My wife is she's vegan. She cooks a lot of vegan foods, but I can't. I need my ackee and saltfish. I need my my plantain in the mornings with my hardo bread. I need my my corned beef and rice. I mean, corned beef and rice. That's so nice. I love that type of food, man. I love it. I don't care how nasty the corned beef is. I love it. But curry goat and rice is just the pinnacle of foods. And if you know how to make that, and do you know what? Like they call it fast food. It's not fast food. But if you go to a Jamaican restaurant and ask for takeaway, if you go to a Jamaican restaurant and you ask for takeaway, it's expensive in England. It's quite expensive, $25, $30, for a box of rice with, with a nice piece of, jerk chicken or white rice with curry goat. That's really, it's expensive, but it's worth it. Every penny, worth every penny. Okay, so we're not going to go. Okay, we're going to come off the subject here anyway, by the way, guys. And I want to round this up right now because clearly you guys tired of eating Austrian cheese casserole. Yeah. P, no, you don't. You can read or comprehend data. How can one of the most unemployed groups of Black Americans also be the most educated? Are they the most unemployed group? Where did you get that number from? Where did you get this number from? That would be interesting to see where you got those numbers from, Lisa Susu. Because they are the most, I mean, that was already found out. We already found this out. African Caribbean Diaspora Talks, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. Ackee and saltfish. I'm not a big fan of oxtail. I think it's too fatty. Belly pork. I'm not a big fan of pork either. Jerk chicken, wow, is the best eaten with the plate thrown on the. yeah, boy, I miss those days. I really do miss it. I'm gonna start cooking again. Yeah, it is, and so that's why I don't even join your wars. I'm like, yo, that's okay, that's fine, that's fine. When I was in America, I was eating like lots of like African American dishes because my uncle, I'm going to tell you what he did, but my uncle lived in the Bronx, in the nice part of the Bronx. There is nice parts of the Bronx. He lived in a nice part of the Bronx, and he. During Thanksgiving, he always used to throw these really quite lavish, nice parties, and him and his wife used to cook most amazing foods. Amazing foods, yeah, and most of them were African American foods. They weren't Jamaican. So, yeah, love African American foods too. They're just nice foods from all around the diaspora. You know, we've sort of changed little bits and pieces of it to suit our dietary needs in whatever part of the world we live in. Guys, okay, I need to get back to this because I want to start wrapping this up. Thank you for the super chats, guys, by the way. Thank you very much. I didn't even realize somebody else gave me a super chat somewhere at some point. So thank you very much for that. Turn AA's unemployment rate was 11.4% in 2020. That is 1.4 times more than the national average. Where did you get that number from? I always ask people where they get their numbers from, which statistics, and how did they make those statistics? Did they make them the same way they you know, because you got to look at also the way the market is. Who's employing these people? You got to look at the situation. You can't just look at the numbers and say, oh, look, African Americans are not employed, and you know, because look at these numbers. You can't do that. You cannot do that because they are being, you know, they're being treated differently than a lot of other people in the United States when it comes to certain jobs, when it comes to certain opportunities. So you cannot look at statistics. Statistics are actually rubbish in the United States. Let's have a HBCUs are not filled with Nigerians historically. True, but many of them want to go there. I would have loved. I would love my kids to go to a HBCU. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of educated African Americans, but we're discriminated. But do you know what? You don't need to stay there in the US now. I've told you guys this before. There are people outside the United States who appreciate you. They appreciate you. They don't just appreciate you. When you go to their countries, they see you as higher than them. So why are you staying in America for it? Why? It's just, you know, it's logic, you know. Even in Jamaica, what percentage of men are educated? No, Jamaica's different. There are very small, and that's because of the education system in America, in Jamaica is terrible. It's woeful. It is really bad. Education system in the UK. So if you're talking about Jamaican diasporans who are living in the UK, yeah, you got a good dose of Jamaicans living there. But all the doctor jobs, they're all taken by Ghanaians and Nigerians. So, I mean, I remember going to hospital. I took my friend to hospital, and he was seen by a Nigerian doctor. When my ex-partner, when she was having my first daughter, you know, she tore her up pretty bad. You know, she tore her up down there when she came out, and we had a Ghanaian doctor, and he must have been, I don't know how old he is, but he wasn't over 25 years old. He wasn't over 25 years old, and he repaired her like brand new. Okay, so I've had a lot of good experiences with African doctors. They're some of the best in the world, aren't they? You know, it's not American doctors. Oh, what's going on here? Do you know what? I keep losing people. I don't know what's going on with the internet. How can someone providing statistical data that has been thoroughly researched and variables controlled be a troll? How do you know? But listen, this is the thing. We always got to ask ourselves, where is the source of your information coming from? You know, where is the source of you got to ask. So when people, normally when it comes from the United States government, there are other things that are not taken into consideration. There are other variables that are not taken into consideration. Confounding variables, that's what they call it, and there's nothing they can do about it. How do you measure how racist somebody is? How do you do that? You can't. So yeah, I'm sorry about that, but it's, you know, it's, if you look at the reality is that there are, how many, who knows the statistics there? How many African American, how many Black American, we'll say Black American, how many Black American women are in university now? There is more than men, by the way, I know that. Yeah, AA folks, why I wonder why you want to live in a country where you are not appreciated. Yeah, it always struck me to see these. I'm not going to start bigging up Americans now, African Americans now, but you know, I tell the truth, right? I tell the truth because I see certain aspects of the African American ethnicity doing things which aren't being done in other parts of the diaspora. Okay, and they've managed to rise above pretty much everybody else in the diaspora in perhaps some of the most hostile conditions in the diaspora. Okay, with Haiti as well, but you know, but in that kind of a way, if you know what I mean. They've managed to do that. You can't put them down. There must be something there. There must be something inside them, something that's inherent, which gives them the ability to rise above conflict, danger, you know, all these horrible things which are being thrown at them throughout for the last 500 years. And that dump, I'm sorry guys, but America is a dump. I don't like that country. I don't like it. And do you know what? It's not the country itself. The country is actually beautiful. It's the people that live there. A lot of people that live there are, yeah, anyway. We're coming off the subject, aren't we? If you're being discriminated against by Mzungus, then they need to create their own opportunities like that. The Asian Americans weren't discriminated the same way as Black Americans, were they? Was there ever a time when the Asian Americans had some sort of laws? There was for a little bit during World War II, and they got compensation for that, right? The Japanese did. Japanese Americans got compensation for being put into those intern camps. Typically American. So, was there a time? No, there wasn't. Nobody else, no other ethnic minority was treated like the way the Black Americans were treated. You cannot compare that. You cannot, it's no comparison. Just wondering why you're going light on the surprise wife. No mention of her bat-like eyelashes. All of a sudden you're going light, praising Black women. Who are you and what did you do with the other guy? Hey, listen, I appreciate them. Listen, what I'm not going to do now is just slander her because It's not. Sometimes you have to put your feet into their shoes. That's what you need to do sometimes. Put your feet into their shoes. You may not like what you see, but if you're looking at it from their point of view, if you're looking at their situation, which you are not in, by the way, you are not in a situation. If you're looking at it from their point of view, you have to, you know, be more empathetic towards them and say, hey, if this is what you need, if this is what you think is going to help you, then give it a go. You're not going to get my money, but good luck to you. You can do that. They're not killing anybody. They don't have a gun to somebody's head saying to them, you have to. They're not. They have taken a different approach. And I don't want to support that method of asking for money. I think that it came out wrong. Definitely think it came out wrong, you know. But I think that if they feel that they are not being aggressive enough, then that's up to them. This might snap back on them, or this might propel them even further. This might get them to their goal much quicker. You know, you don't know yet. So you have to watch and see what happens. Let's see what you guys are saying. You must be from Africa to ask that. Oh, sorry. Oh, what are you guys talking about? How can you compare Haitians with African Americans? You must be out of your mind. African Americans have more opportunities even though they complain a lot. Wow. Do you know what though? Do African Americans complain a lot? I don't think they do. The African Americans that I know don't complain a lot. There are a lot of people saying a lot of stuff on social media, but they're just giving their opinion, but they don't go out every single day, walk out the door. Do you know what? You know, look at their white neighbors and go like this. They live their own lives. They're focused. They're doing their thing. They're not going out, you know. And don't they have a right to complain as well? They have a right to complain. I think they do. Just as a man's wife should be working, there's nothing wrong with his mother working. Wow, but isn't his mother pregnant? Guys, is Herman's mother pregnant? You heard me. Oh man, if Herman's mother's pregnant, then that's wild, man. That is so wild. She chose to be pregnant. God. What are you guys talking about, man? I watched one of your videos you were made talking about the slaves taken to Jamaica. My friend, the story has some holes. Yeah, really? What holes? Oh, one of the videos that I made ages ago. Fill the holes. Leave your comment. Fill the holes. Do you know what? I got a lot of slack, a lot of bad reaction from that video. And it was mostly from the ADOS movement community. How did you know that? I'm like, you know how they're aggressive. They were like, I was like, yo, it's just the way it is, okay? I was told these stories. What do you want me to do about it? You know? So yeah, of course, if I had to tell the full story of how and where our people came from in Jamaica, where most of them came from, I could make a 1 hour documentary about it. So funny you brought up about the Japanese being locked up in the US. Back in the day, I was dating a Japanese girl whose mum committed suicide in San Bruno, California. Related to that, that's wild, man. That is wild, Swag Nation. I wish I could put your comment up, but I don't know how to do it. Let's have a look. Yeah, I don't know how to do that, but that is wild. You know, we're in a situation now where you need to just focus on you and do what you need to do. You also have to have a little bit of empathy, okay? We are not in Herman's shoes. We're not in Herman's situation. Herman's in a different situation than us. Most of you guys are privileged. You just don't know it. I know I'm privileged. I know I am. I've got a passport that allows me to travel to 160 countries in the world, visa free. You know, can go to any of these countries visa free, and that is power. Just having that piece of paper is power. Most of these people that you see, like Herman, they can't just up heels and leave and go to Europe or go to America and find better opportunities. I wonder how, you know, people like, there are, you know, if you look at people like Rene Marcus, and if you look at people like even Afrodamus, you know, you got these people are not just your common Gambians. These people that come from prominent families, okay? And that's the reason why they are able to float into the Gambia and float back out and live on the West Coast, comfortably living a good life on the West Coast of the United States of America. That's why they can do that. Okay, so it's different. Herman's different. Herman is from a very humble background, and he does need that help. I know you may not have liked the way she was speaking, but I will take that if it means that Herman has guidance, has someone right there. Rene Marcus is a bloody upper class Gambian. You can tell she speaks English in an upper class tone as well. She must have gone to some sort of posh English school. She doesn't speak like me. I speak like a commoner. And she speaks the way she speaks eloquently. She speaks better English than I do. She wasn't even born there. So yeah, it's wild. Yeah, I know. It's the truth. So you can't compare both. Thank you, Mike Sam. Thank you very much for that. You can't compare Herman Jallow with those other YouTubers, because he's not a privileged person. So he needs something. And if he's got his mother that he now needs to take care of, the father has gone, he's got his wife there, and there is a pregnant woman in the household, I say good luck to them. Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. But try and give, I would say this, try and give your clients, try and give your viewers some good value for money. Spend some money on your equipment, you know, do something different for them. That means, you know, that they are getting something, that you're not just asking for money. I want money, give it to me, do something, innovate. She can do that. She's an African American woman, she can do it. It's as simple as that. So anyway, Renee is only 20, she's only 26. I had no idea she was so young, you know. I mean, she looks young. Otis, what makes you believe that you are authority on Africans and African Americans? I don't believe I am. I'm just giving my opinion. Okay. Sounded British, that did. Biggest building projects going on in Africa are being done by continentals, either those returning from the diaspora or some who never left. We are doing just fine. We are survivors. I know that. This is why I haven't been, oh yeah, Pan-Africans, the diaspora needs to return so we can rebuild Africa. I'm sorry, but I'm following quite a few YouTube, Instagram channels, right? Some Instagram profiles, and I'm saying to myself, yo, they don't need us, man. They don't need us. They're doing just, yeah, there are pockets and parts of the continent that are struggling. Those parts do, and could do with the help. But boy, there are parts of Africa that make parts of New York look like, look like nothing. Nothing, really. And it's okay to have, I don't think, you know, when you've got a country, do you know what I saw the other day in the DRC? This is what I hate. I saw a guy, he was driving a Lambo through the mud. He was driving a Lambo trying to get it out of the muddy, because the roads are just so bad. It had been raining and he was driving his Lambo. I was like, oh my God, man, how could you even do that? Oh man, this is ridiculous. Why are they paid so little? That really, you know, shows you how much we value our children on the continent. That was the DRC, it was DRC, Democratic Republic. Yeah, it was. You remember? Yellow Lamborghini. I was like, bloody God, what are you doing? How can you flash a Lambo in a country that can't even afford roads? How can you do that? It's ridiculous. And by the way, the DRC is the richest country on the planet, far richer than Saudi Arabia when it comes to natural resources. Far richer. No other country can even come close to it. It's been taken though. And it's been taken by certain people. You know who that is. So yeah, sorry. I saw a sad article on the East African newspaper today regarding Congo's children. Oh dear. What did you see? I'm afraid to ask. What did you see? Otis, tell us about those African parts that see New York City. No, I'm not just talking about Africa. Let's just zone in on one country. I'm not going to mention South Africa because you know that clearly there are parts of Cape Town, right, that would blow any American city out of the water. You know that. You've seen it in the pictures. You've seen it for yourself. Just unparalleled beauty, along with beautiful roads, just scenic, and then of course, it's a black man's land. What can I say? We're not going to talk about that. So I don't want to talk about Nigeria again as well. I'm trying to think of another country. Because Nigeria, you know that. You know there are parts of Abuja and parts of Lagos. I mean, I'm seeing these. I'm seeing these on my profiles, on my Instagram profiles that I follow. There's some really good ones, like Empire Afrique. They're good. I'm watching those videos and I'm like, where is this? What? Nah, this is not in Africa. No. I'm in denial. I'm like, nah. Yeah. So even me, you know, somebody that knows a bit about Africa, who's been to Africa, I have to sort of shake my head and be like, no, it looks like Amsterdam. No, it's not Amsterdam. What's the capital of Eritrea? It's there. It's wild. It's just such a beautiful continent filled with beautiful countries, filled with beautiful people. Truly blessed. And think about it. Think about that they have that country to go back to, and they can just pop out of there and start living in the West here, make a bit of money, and then go back home. Like I've got family members who did that. They went to live in America. They said, yo, we're here to make money. We have no patriotism to you. We are here to make money. We're going back. And a lot of continental Africans have that feeling. They have that. They don't see America as that. That's why they can sort of detach themselves from America at any time they want. They're like, oh, this is your country. Thank you. I'm here to work. Yeah. Oh, you're racist, are you? Oh, well, that's too bad. Oh, well. And they can go about their business and then, oh, what a terrible place with terrible people. Anyway, I made my money. I'm going back to, I'm going back to Ghana now. Goodbye. They could detach themselves from that and go back to their land with their people. That's also a privilege. That's a privilege a lot of continental Africans don't understand that they have. A privilege a lot of continentals would love, a lot of diasporans would love to have. You have that. So anyway, many continentals are returning home and doing wonders. Yes, they are. Like Sir David Adjaye, he started a project, hasn't he? Sir David Adjaye, the Ghanaian architect who's building the world's largest airport in China, he designed that. The dude is on top of the world. He's doing some things, seriously. Who else? I was with a woman today who was an art curator. She's an art curator and she knows, oh gosh, English guy, but I think he's of Ghanaian descent. British, does movies. Oh gosh, what's his name? Steve McQueen. He calls him, I'm not sure if that's his real name because clearly it's a dodgy name. Steve McQueen, right? Does anybody know where Steve McQueen is from? Not, and I don't mean the American white guy, and I don't mean the other McQueen, the fashion designer who passed on. I'm talking about the African guy. He is Grenadian. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Sorry about that. But anyway, some diasporans, some African diasporans too. Alexander McQueen. That Alexander McQueen is the fashion designer. That's the fashion designer. Otis, what African countries have you been to? So I've been to Ghana, but I was a kid when I went to Ghana. I was in my late teens when I went to Ghana, early 20s when I went to Ghana. And I went there for business. Where else did I go? I went to Senegal and I went to Gambia and I went there at the same time. I'm not going to count Northern Africa. We won't count those. Well, I've been to a few Northern African countries, but it's not really Africa, is it? Been to Morocco a few times, been to Tunisia a few times, been to Egypt once. So yeah. How can America be our home when the black people that are here 400 years are still reminded they are from Africa? I don't know who you're talking to, but all we have to do is look in the mirror to know that we are not from the United States of America. And the thing is, I believe that African Americans have more for right. They are more deserved of being called Americans than European Americans. I call them European Americans. I don't just call them Americans. A lot of people call European Americans just American. You're American. No, the European Americans and the African Americans have more of a right to that land than they do. I'm sorry, but they do. Watch out for DRC. They will soon be the giant of Africa. I thoroughly believe that. I think that at some point, something is going to change in the DRC, and at this moment, there is still too many people inside there that need to be weeded out, and that they're still there from the Belgian times, the Belgian colonial times. There's still that riffraff in the jungle that need to be weeded out. But when they're gone, I'm not even thinking when they're gone. Something is going to happen. I don't know. Something is going to happen that's going to change Africa, and I think it's going to come from within the belly, and it will come from the DRC. The DRC can dictate the price of raw materials and minerals and diamonds and gold throughout the entire planet. They could do that, but they need to take control. They need to get rid of that president at first, if I need to be honest with you. They need to get rid of that president first. He's terrible. He's terrible. And then I don't hear much about the Republic of the Congo. But yeah, I'm going to do more study on that. I'm going to do more studying on that. Do you think the reason why Africa is behind is because of conflict that is orchestrated by the West? And will you think that will ever change? It will definitely change now. It will, 100%. The good question is when and how. Okay. The thing is, if you look historically at the way empires have risen and fallen, empires always rise and fall. Okay? So if you look historically, just over the last 500 years, look at the last 500 years at who has been the empire that has ruled the world, like the preeminent empire that's ruled everything. So back in the 1400s, it was the Dutch, right? It's the Dutch, the 1400s, 1500s, right? They were vying with who were they vying? Portugal, right? 1600s, it was the British. The British ruled the waves in the 1600s, and they pretty much did for a considerable amount of time. For 100 years, they ruled the world, right? 1700s, it was the Spanish, right? 1800s, who was it in the 1800s? The British. It was the French in the 1800s. 1900s, so, goodness. I don't know who ruled it in the 1900s. I might have got those centuries a little bit wrong, but it was the Americans after that, right? It was the Americans. The Americans will fall. That's guaranteed. You will go down to second place because it's always happened that way. It's always happened that way. You'll go to second place and China will take over. China is already taking over, and they will rule the world for the next 100 years. It's not a good prospect, if you ask me. Not for us, anyway. Yeah, the Germans didn't really rule the world. Neither did Russia. They didn't really do the types of colonizing that everybody else were doing at that time. But, yeah, so the Chinese will take over, and then possibly the Indians, but they're in a strong position. And then you have either Nigeria, 23, I would say, to 2,300, yeah. In the 23rd century, I would say Nigeria will rule the world. It will be the country that's going to rule everything. There is always a country coming up. And some of you guys might be, Nigeria, come on, man, come on. African country, why not? They've done it before. It's not the first time they would have ruled the world. So why is that a strange thing to happen? It's not a strange thing to happen. And this is why I tend to not teach my children about the slave trade. Like it's a big thing that should, change their lives. I don't do that. I don't. The slave trade was a blip in African history. It was a blip. It wasn't a massive thing which, tore us all apart forever. In the grand scheme of things, the slave trade was a blip to most Africans. There are Africans, you will know this, guys, I'm going to say this, I want you to listen. There are Africans living on the continent who don't even know the slave trade ever happened. They don't know it happened. You know that. Another thing as well, just like, you've got uncontacted tribes in Brazil. They don't know what Portuguese is. They don't know what Portugal is. There are uncontacted tribes who don't even know there's an outside world, who are living in the Amazon basin. They see aeroplanes and they try to shoot them down because they don't know what the hell it is. Isn't that amazing? There are people in Africa who don't know the slave trade happened. I'm sorry, and it's a horrible thing for me to say as well, being that I am of a descendant of a slave. They don't know colonialism. Some of them, you're right, young Lau, some of them don't know colonialism because they've never been in contact with somebody who wasn't of their kin. Never. So they don't know. So a lot of continentals will sometimes, they will get stick. It's like, yeah, you know, look at what happened to us. Why aren't you with us? They're like, whoa, I didn't even know what happened. What happened? Educate me. You know, tell me about it. Well, you don't know what happened to us? Your people did. Blah, 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 blah. You know. 13th to the 14th Portuguese, 15th to the 16th Spanish, 16th to the 17th the French, 17th to the 18th the British, 9th to the 20th USA. This is the current timeline. Thank you for that. So yeah, so who's next poised to take over? It's the Chinese. So a lot of people don't understand. They think, oh, America is they always have been this great monolithic sort of powerhouse of the world. It's been for 100 years. There haven't been, right? There haven't been. There was a time when there were other superpowers, right? They've had their time now, and now China's going to take over, and they are good friends with Russia. They don't need the other country. They're not in a situation where they're begging for money. They've bought so many American bonds, debt bonds, the Chinese have, that they could dump those bonds and immediately put America into a crisis if they felt like it. The Chinese have the American economy in their hands like this, and they could just, if they wanted to. That's the situation that they're in. They will eventually become number one if they get in there. But I'm not excited about that. I'm excited about who's coming next. Because I know Africa has its time to come. Africa has its time to come. It will come. Africa's time will come. And when it does, yeah, I know. We're not going to be around. But what we can do is we can be part of the journey. You know what I mean? And this is what Pan-Africanism is all about. The real Pan-Africanism. And I'm not talking about the guys who are running over there shouting Pan-Africanism and then asking for a bit of money from you so you can move back to Africa. I'm talking about the real Pan-Africanism. I'm talking about industrializing part of the African continent, bringing technology to the helm, that type of thing. Just, you know, in order to industrialize major parts of Africa, you need to have power supply. And in most parts, even in the richest African country in Africa, they still have power cuts. They still haven't sorted their grid out. So yeah, we're in that situation. Guys, oh my gosh, do you know what? I promised myself I wouldn't go over again, but I have. So guys, I'm going to have to wrap this up now. So I'm sorry about this. And I'm sorry, I'm really happy we had a good talk today. We had a really good talk because I didn't want to just talk about, what's happening in the Gambia with Herman. I wanted to talk more about what's happening in the wider scheme of things when it comes to Africa, the way things are going, right? And that's good. And we're going to talk more about this tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have an important conversation. Tomorrow's video we're going to talk about, oh goodness, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about South Africa because, yeah, we just need to thrash it out. We need to thrash it out. I might have a few guests on, so we'll see. Malale Malmwanza. Otis, you sound like a non-football fan attempting to explain football. Which football though? You mean the real football, the English football? Or what you Americans call football? You're not even African, are you? Malale. Hey? You see? You made a little mistake there. I wonder who that is. Do you think that's Nack Sleazy? Who thinks it's Nack Sleazy? No, anyway, so guys, I've got to go. So thank you for watching. Thank you. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the new Oversight channel. Okay, guys? Subscribe to the new Oversight channel. All of the videos are 5 minutes long and they are really good bits of information. A bit more about what we do and about our philosophy and about the way we structure our business. You know, what we do as a business, because risk management, you know, strategic risk management. I know a lot of people that'll just go over their heads and they don't quite know what that is. Watch the videos. They're tiny, okay? Okay, yeah, Nack Sleazy. So guys, thank you for watching. And thank you once again to the Patreons. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super chats, guys. It's well appreciated. And I will see you in the next one. Okay, thank you. Take care. Take care. See you tomorrow.